Welcome to another one of our Skypecasts. I'm so pleased to introduce Dr. Frumi Rachel Barr. Dr. Barr, last time we talked, you mentioned that you had something exciting going on that you were developing specifically for CEOs. Can you tell us what that is?
I'm very excited. We're starting groups, peer groups, called the CEO Virtual Roundtables. There are two types of CEOs that we're hoping to attract. The first, well, let me give you a little background. When I was writing my book, I interviewed 40 CEOs from around the world. My initial premise was that it's lonely at the top. But what I found was that the CEOs who were in peer groups were not lonely. And those who weren't in peer groups actually wished they were, but many of them lived in remote areas, like 2 hours from Boston. So it would be too much to drive to Boston, spend a full day, and then drive home. So the types of CEOs that I'm attracting are the ones who either live remotely or, and this has been a bit of a surprise to me, there are several CEOs who've approached me who simply find that their current peer group is stale, or that some members aren't bringing value and that a full day is just too much to spend. So they're very eager to try something new with new technology so that they can see each other and still participate.
Well, and that's kind of a hot thing right now. It's, everything's going virtual, right? So can you talk a little bit about how that virtual group would work?
Well, first of all, it would be online and everyone would be able to see each other. So that's kind of exciting on its own, because if this were 2 years ago, you couldn't have had 4 people, for example, seeing each other at the same time. The actual session is both structured and flexible at the same time. So, for example, we would begin with check-ins, highlights of what's going on in personal lives and business lives, and then someone would present an issue in a very structured format. For example, I know that in order to get clarity, it's really important to ask fresh questions. So we begin with a question-asking session, proceed into what I call solutioning, or resolving the issue through the expertise and experience of the other CEOs at the table.
So tell me a little bit more about what a CEO, what benefits would they get from joining your group?
Well, it's lonely at the top, and there are always issues that come up. And knowing how someone else handled, let's say it could be a hiring issue, a firing issue, it could be how do we conserve our resources, or is it time to make this type of an investment? Where's the balance? What's your experience? And just a sharing of experience. And many CEOs are involved in boards, for example, where they're always the ones that people go to for advice. Where does a CEO go for value? And it is in these peer groups that they get value, providing they're well matched.
Well, and that's my next question, I guess. How do you match CEOs? I mean, you could have a CEO of maybe a smaller company and maybe larger companies, or maybe they're different industries.
That's right. Well, it's a bit like corporate matchmaking, because I begin with a central figure, profile that figure. So, for example, a hired president of a business unit with, let's say, $2 billion in revenue would need a different type of value than a founder of a virtual company where they might have 99 employees. So how do you balance that? So if you start with a profile of one individual, then it becomes a who that you're looking for. I like to call them who's. So I would reach out into my network and say, who sounds like this? And find people that are compatible with at a similar level of control and management.
That's a huge benefit, because a lot of times you join these groups and, sometimes you're sitting next to someone who's really job seeking, and you're the one giving them all the value rather than you getting kind of a reciprocal type relationship. So that's extremely valuable. Tell me how specifically a CEO would join this group. Is there a vetting process, or how does that work?
Absolutely. There's an interview process. So If it's a very different type of CEO, I would profile that CEO and then find matches. After the vetting process, first of all, they reach out to me, obviously, through either an email to ceocoach@frumi.com, frumi.com, or on the website. There is a form to fill in. Next, there would be an interview, and then I would do the corporate matchmaking, which is the fun part for me.
Oh, excellent. So just to be sure, if I'm a CEO and I'm interested in this, where do I go and what do I do again?
You go to frumi.com.
Okay.
There's a page for CEO Virtual Roundtables, or email me at ceocoach@frumi.com.
Well, Dr. Frumi Rachel Barr, this sounds like an exciting new adventure and something I know our CEOs will welcome. It's not only a great savings of time. I know here in California, we spend a lot of time in traffic. So just getting to a networking group. So this would be extremely valuable to the CEOs based in California. Plus, I imagine you can expand your network a little bit more instead of it being just regionally based. So that's perfect.
CEO could be anywhere in the world.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for introducing us to this new concept. We look forward to talking to you again. Thank you.
Thank you.